Is XPeng G6 a better car than its competitors, mainly Tesla Model Y or even BYD Sealion 7? No, I did not make a full review, a test drive recently with all these models. I didn't do that. I am just going to react to a video that I received from a viewer of this channel. As I said, I received a link to a video of another YouTuber with a comparison of these three brands and also Cupra Tavascan. And I decided to watch the video. And when I was watching it, I decided to make a reaction video to it so that I give my own opinion mainly on the XPeng topics that he's going to refer to. But first, let me give my appreciation and a big thank you to the members of this channel that provide some kind of support to it, mainly on super chats and memberships of YouTube, and also on Buy Me a Coffee link. So thank you very much to all of you. But first, let me explain why I am making this video. So when I was thinking on purchasing a new car, an EV, I did search a lot on YouTube for videos, reviews of XPeng, Tesla, BYD, and even other brands like Peugeot, BMW, everything. I did search for those. I tried to find some comparison videos, but in my search for my car, I did realize that most of the reviews were made very over the top. So what I mean with this is that there were many reviewers getting those cars for like a couple of hours, just driving around with them and then making their conclusions based on that experience. And I felt that many times when I compared some reviewers doing these comparisons with some people that had the car for more time, I did find a lot of mistakes, errors, inconsistencies, etc. So it made me sometimes think on buying a different car because of a comparison, and then I realized that it was not correct. Okay, and this is why when I decided to create this channel, I decided to focus mainly on the XPeng because it's the car that I in fact have. I drive every single day, so I do have the pains and good things of owning this car, so I can provide a better feedback of this car instead of providing very over-the-top feedback on different cars. So when I got this video and I watch it, I realize that it's not that it's incorrect or wrong. It's sometimes the way that things are presented that make us compare wrongly. And this is why I decided to make this reaction video so that I can provide my feedback mainly on the things that are going to be said about the XPeng G6. So let's not wait any longer. Let's go to the video and I will try to comment on top of it. So here it is, the video that I was talking about. The YouTuber is Smart to Drive. You can go check his profile. I will link him in the description, of course. And let's start immediately. Just a notice that the information is not in English because this is not an English YouTuber, but I think it's going to be easier to understand what is happening here, and I will be commenting.
In one of my last videos, I compared the BYD Client 7 with the XPeng G6 and the Tesla Model YF, and you guys really liked the video. But some people wrote in the comments, "Hey Alex, could you include the Cupra Tavascan in this comparison?"
Also, basically, he's doing the introduction of the video, and he's saying that he made this analysis between BYD, Tesla, and XPeng, but people were requesting him to do with the Cupra also, and he made now a new video with that also in mind. So let's just go forward here.
Okay, let's start with the prices. Here I still have the XPeng G6 in first place. It starts at €43,600 and ends at €51,600 in the performance model, i.e. in the highest equipment line. At least from the perspective of the video.
So let me start by this. One of the main aspects of commenting and comparing different brands and cars is price level, of course. And this is a trick that many people do, that is excluding some features of the cars and then considering them cheap or expensive. So as you can see here, BYD Sealion 7 and Cupra are in the high end of the price level, and XPeng G6 is on the green side, so it's the cheapest car, more or less, and he's then considering Tesla Model Y as the next one. But he's forgetting one thing. And this is one trick that sometimes is used. I don't know if it is on purpose, but it is in reality. I think these videos should be made considering a specific model. So for instance, we should be comparing, for instance, G6 single range with Tesla Model Y single range, BYD Sealion single range, I don't know if it exists, so Cupra Tavascan single range. So it should compare the entry level or the top performance car of all of them, and then compare apples with apples, and should also include all the equipment inside that he is now then going to compare the features in front. Because as you can see here, he's saying that Tesla Model Y is on the yellow, it is very cheap, but he's not adding on top of the Tesla Model Y all the features that you need to pay to have, for instance, self-drive, to have enhanced autopilot, to have full self-drive, to auto-change lanes, etc. So if you are not including that on price, you cannot include that on the features. So if you are then comparing features saying that Tesla Model Y has these features, then you have to include those features, the price of those features in the price. Because if you include EAP and also full self-drive, the car will be at the same price level of BYD Sealion 7 and Cupra Tavascan. Okay, I don't know if I make myself clear, but I believe that this is somehow misleading, saying that Tesla Model Y is 44,990 and then it doesn't have most of the features that is going to talk in the more in front of the video. About self-driving features, autopark features, and all of those features, because it is not included in the car. In case of XPeng G6, for instance, it's all inclusive. Okay?
The Tesla still simply has the longest
Now we are
range.
talking about the range.
This is the most efficient vehicle, but the Cupra also performed very, very well. Among other things, we had around 16 kilowatt hours in the city test and on the highway at around 120 to 130 kilometers per hour. Yes. We still.
So let me stop already. Let's already talk about these two sections here. So the first one is WLTP. It is what it is. It's based off a common way of measuring. So WLTP, nothing to say about this. It's 435. So here is the single range until 570. That's okay. But then he has this D column here that is talking about the consumption, average consumption.
And although the BYD Line 7 has the largest battery of all, namely with almost 100 kilowatt hours, it doesn't get any further in the end because the consumption is simply significantly higher. Now let's talk about consumption. As I already mentioned, these are all WLTP values that the manufacturers specify.
So this is incorrect, okay? So these are, at least for the XPeng G6, the 17.5 and 17.9 is not WLTP range numbers from the XPeng. So this is consumption numbers calculated by XPeng on the cars. Because if you just do the math, it's very simple to do this. 435 kilometers on my car, the G6, with a 66 kilowatt battery doesn't give a consumption of 17.5. It's impossible. With 17.5, I would not be able to do 435 kilometers. So there are two different numbers here. First, WLTP numbers, so it's based on a set of rules to calculate WLTP, and then the other numbers are based on assumptions of the manufacturer itself. And I am assuming that all the other values are, because he says that in the video, that they are retrieved from the websites of the manufacturer. So I believe that some of them are using WLTP. That, guys, you just need to grab the WLTP figure of kilometers with the battery pack that exists and do the math, and you will see what is considered the average consumption to do that. In my car, the single range, it would be around 15 dot something. To make myself clear, this is the math that you need to do to calculate average consumption based on WLTP numbers. So, for instance, if you have then a battery pack that is 435 kilometers WLTP and the battery pack is 66 kilowatt hour, then you need to calculate this in this way. 66, that is the total amount of battery, times 100 and divided by 435, it will give you the average consumption of the car in WLTP figures. And for my XPeng G6 single range, it would be 15.17 kilowatt hour and not, as it is said here, 17.5. Okay, so it doesn't change much, but it will be much closer to the Cupra Tavascan, and I would had to make this review. If I was myself doing this review, I would then get this WLTP, put here a column with the battery pack, so considering the, for instance, single range entry points of these cars, what is the size, and then do my own math to have the average consumption of WLTP and then see if it is still in this way or not.
Let's move on. I'll come to the
let's
charging
continue.
capacity here. In terms of charging capacity, the Cupra only has 135 kilowatts at peak. It simply can't manage more at peak, although I've already drawn over 140 at the charging station. However, the Sane 7 and the XPeng G6 already use 800-watt charging technology. This simply means that the vehicles have a better charge. And I'd like to make this yellow here at least, which was red before. It has improved in the meantime through software updates. But here it's still the same. I've also heard from the BYD driver community. For example, with Ionity it simply charges much faster and reaches its peak of 230 kilowatts sooner than at other charging stations.
Okay, let's do one talk about the charging capacity, charging speed, charging infrastructure. So there are here three blocks. Okay, so here we have column E, F, and G. Okay, and let's talk about these three columns here in a single way. So I understand that is comparing not only the charging peak, also the charging speed from 20 to 80, and also the charging infrastructure. I understand these comparisons, even if they are in favor of XPeng in most of the cases, so in 2 out of 3. But I need to say this so that you guys that are seeing my channel and you know that I am very picky on this type of situations, let me give you my feedback on this. If you are considering on buying an EV, you need to understand the concepts of charging peak, the 20 to 80%, and also the charging infrastructure. So first, charging peak and this 400 volt and 800 volt architecture. So this is the architecture of your car. So of course 800 volt allows much higher speeds, charging curves, better charging curves, and the peak also. Peak is the maximum output that you can get, or in this case input that you can get in your car. So this means that the car can reach a higher level of energy coming inside the car. I'm trying to do this in the best way possible, not getting into very technical. So for instance, as it says here, charging XPeng G6 can reach 280 kilowatt peak. But it is important not the peak, but the charging curve of the car. So it doesn't mean much if you reach 280 and it stays there in 5%, in the 100%. It reaches only that peak in 5% and then goes down to 150 or 130 or whatever. So it's important that you, when you are shortlisting the cars that you take in consideration the size of the battery. Okay, that is the biggest thing. And then the charging curve of that battery. So if it stays, for instance, from 200 to 20% to 80% in the peak of the car, then it's very good. If it fluctuates a lot, or if it does just stays on the peak from the 20 to 40 and then reduces to half, you need to consider all of that, because that will take in consideration then the 20 to 80%. So it doesn't mean much. If you, for instance, look at this, looking at the 400 volt, the Cupra at 400 only says that it's 135, but then Tesla Model Y can reach almost the double. So you could say that from 20 to 80, it should be half, because if it reaches double peak of Cupra, then it should be almost half of the time to charge from 20 to 80. But it is not, it's only 3 minutes. So what does this mean? It means that, for instance, that Cupra probably can stay at 135 for almost all the 20 to 80. It mean that Cupra has a very big battery, and this means that, so this is the information that you need to know, because if Cupra battery is the same size of Tesla battery, then if Cupra only takes 3 minutes more to reach from 20 to 80% and the peak is much lower than the Tesla, something is wrong here. Do you understand what I am saying? So if the battery size was the same, then we would expect that Tesla would charge the 20 to 80% in almost half of the time of the Cupra, but it is not. So, or the battery of the Tesla Model Y, it's much smaller than the Cupra one. So, of course, then Cupra takes more time to charge from 20 to 80%, because, guys, 80% of a 60 kilowatt or 80% of a 100 kilowatt, it's completely different. So this is why comparing this type of situation is not the best way to say which car is the best, because of course charging from 20 to 80% with a battery that it's very small, it's going to be faster. Okay, this is just math. So you need to take into consideration all these things. And then in the infrastructure, I would not even consider to have that in the graph here, because at least in my opinion, having an infrastructure, own infrastructure or not, doesn't mean much if you don't have that infrastructure available. For instance, in Portugal, we only have 3 to 4 places where you can charge Teslas. So even if the Tesla, if I was an owner of a Tesla, at this moment, I had to move very far away to charge in a Tesla own infrastructure. So it doesn't mean much if you live in a country where the infrastructure is not present. Also, as he says in the video, if you own Ionity membership, for instance, then you can charge at the same prices, more or less, than Tesla provides to their own users. So there are a lot of details to take in consideration on these charging networks that I do believe that having this category here, just to say that Tesla has their own infrastructure, even that own infrastructure, at least in Portugal now, is open to every single one. So the only advantage is that if you have a Tesla, you reach a Tesla supercharger, it's going to be a little bit cheaper and it's going to be seamless. So basically you just need to plug in your car and you don't even need to have a card to pay. But guys, those 10 seconds of paying, it's not... So let's move forward on this situation, and let's go here for this
that will come in an
part.
update. Then we have vehicle to load. Tesla doesn't have any...
Okay, I move a little bit faster. So, but basically here is planning, navigation planning for charging. And he gives 3 points, free green to Tesla Model Y, BYD Sealion, XPeng G6, because all those cars do have capacity to plan and preheat the battery pack when you are using the inbuilt system to navigate to a charging station. So, okay. And now vehicle to load. XPeng G6 and BYD Sealion 7 have a vehicle to load.
The interior of Tesla and XPeng is very similar, just a display, no buttons, very minimalist. The exterior workmanship is excellent on all vehicles.
Okay, let me just give a very quick feedback on this one. I would not give a colored system to this because this is very personal. So this is the opinion on the design. For me, of course, I choose XPeng G6. I already knew this car, so I would give a green to XPeng because it doesn't mean... if you consider the quality of the materials, but then you need to go a little bit more in detail. But here, talking about if it is minimalistic or futuristic, it's a matter of opinion. I decided to buy the XPeng G6 because I do prefer minimalistic approach, but not as much as Tesla. So I wanted to have a very minimalistic approach like Tesla, but still with the dashboard in front of me with stalks, some buttons to control the car, with a good assistant to command almost all the other things inside the car. So that's why I choose, in terms of interior, technology, and exterior, I choose the XPeng G6 on related to the others. But I cannot say that XPeng it's better than Cupra or Tesla or BYD because it depends on your personal opinion and taste in terms of design, interior and exterior of the car. So I will not say nothing about that.
Sporty drive. So far, Tesla has had the best cornering and the highest traction for me. I haven't driven the VZ, only the Endurance from Cupra, and it still has excellent
he's talking
traction.
about the sportive,
However, when you accelerate fully in a
mood
bend,
of the
you can
cars,
still sometimes
even
get the rear
as
wheels to
this
spin
is
slightly,
a
but
family
only when you're cornering
SUV.
at full throttle,
But I
and that's
understand
due to the
this, and
rear-wheel
I know
drive.
that
If you
XPeng
had all-wheel
G6
drive,
does
that wouldn't happen either, and you can
corner
simply
a
tell
little
with the
bit.
Cupra in the corner. No matter how fast you go into the corner, it is similar to the Model Y in terms of its low center of gravity, and the chassis does not wobble. It is a very good chassis. I also think of adaptive chassis. The Cupra, I have just added this, because only the Cupra has it. The Cupra also adapts.
Okay, so he decided to add a new column because Cupra has this adaptive chassis. It's okay. So there are some features, for instance, that XPeng has and he didn't add but I will refer that in the end of the video. Let's move on.
Are the best. The Sealion 7 was also okay in terms of maneuverability, and the G6
Nothing
and the
to
Model
say
Y are
about
pretty
these.
similar. Both have a very large turning circle. When it comes to
Let's move
driving
on.
comfort, I already mentioned that the Sealion 7 was number one for me and still remains in terms of driving comfort, but the Tavascan is very close behind. So, when you drive in the comfort mode, the chassis is so comfortable, quiet, the driving noise is excellent, the car is superbly insulated, and, the Tesla is still the same. The G6 is somewhere in between, so well balanced. A mix, I would say.
Again, this is a matter of opinion. I saw already many reviewers saying that it's XPeng, it's very comfortable, but not big on sportiveness, but it's good in comfort. I already saw some other saying another thing. This YouTuber is saying that it's a mixed. I do consider a mixed, so I can get a little fun with the XPeng, but I do consider the car more in a comfort side than on the performance side. But again, guys, I have an XPeng G6 single range, not the performance, so it's difficult to have that, but I choose to have a more family oriented car than a sporty car. If I wanted a sporty car, I would go to the P7 or a sedan or something like that. But okay, then he's talking here
Like
about
that.
one pedal
it only
drive.
recuperates when braking, and, yeah, I'm really missing one paddle driving so far. Maybe that will come with an update.
I don't know how to say this, but BYD Sealion doesn't have that, and XPeng G6 and Cupra only has, so it reduces the speed, so it's more the regenerative speeding or braking, that it's tied to this one pedal driving. And in case of the XPeng G6, for instance, in China, the new model already has, so it's just an activation to have a full stop. But the implementation of the XPeng G6 is that it will almost come to a stop and it will stay at 2 kilometers or something like that. So if you want to really stop the car, you need to press the pedal. So there are a lot of reviews and analyses and people saying that the implementation of not stopping completely, it's better because your brain will consider still that you have a brake pedal there. But guys, this would be a huge discussion over internet, what is better, what is not. I expect that XPeng G6 releases the true one pedal drive, let's call it like that, the Tesla one pedal drive, that it's coming to a complete stop, but as an option. As it seems to be, if you saw my video on the reaction to the electric Viking testing the XPeng G6, the new one, you see that there is a toggle there for the true one pedal drive. But I would like, if this comes to the current cars, I would like to have it as an option. So I do prefer to have it with the brake pedal, so almost to a full stop. And if you want the full stop, then you can activate. So I would prefer to have this as an option. Okay.
As for the driver's cockpit, we don't have one at all in Tesla. The Model Y also doesn't have a display behind the steering wheel. The Sane 7 has a fairly large one, the XPeng G6 has a smaller display, and the...
Okay, so now these are features. So let's start by matrix LED. Yeah, I would love to have matrix headlights on my car. The XPeng G6, it's one of the lacking features that exist. So it's okay to have it there. So headlights are bad, not bad, but it's normal headlights. So I'm okay with that. On the cockpit, so the dashboard, all the cars have that. So BYD Sealion 7, XPeng G6 and Cupra do have, and Tesla does not. And also the head-up display, only BYD Sealion 7 and Cupra Tavascan do have these. And I know that XPeng G6, the new version, will have also augmented reality head-up display, so next to the Cupra Tavascan. Let me see what he means with that display.
Excellence trim. Only the Tesla has a display in the back, so the Juniper model now has a display for the rear
display
passengers.
in the back.
The others
so
don't
the
have
G6, the new G6 also will have the display in the back. Let's go to the volume.
The Tesla clearly has the edge. It's just like that. You can see it here on the right with the frunk. Tesla also has a huge frunk.
Okay, guys, here there are mixed topics here because I don't know if the numbers are correct. I will just do this remark and you can then check if you want. But if I'm not mistaken, if he's getting the information from the manufacturer's websites, it is clear that, for instance, Tesla Model Y do measure until the top to the roof. Almost all the others do measure only to the cover of the back to the trunk. So if that is real, then of course it is biased information because of course I can remove the cover and have the full capacity to the top, to the roof of the car. And if I'm not mistaken, I may be, so guys, if I am, just leave in the comments the correction. But if I'm not mistaken, there was this guy, another YouTuber, Bjorn, something like that. I think he's from Australia. He tested and he's doing a banana box test that is putting banana boxes inside the cars to test real capacity instead of having just the information of coming from the manufacturers. And if I'm not mistaken, XPeng G6 was able to overcome Tesla Model Y on the banana box. I may be mistaken, but it is what it is. So I don't know if this is real for the trunk. For the frunk, I will not even talk about that because I don't have one. Okay.
Come to the panoramic roof. All vehicles have one. That's the good news. The bad news is that only the Sedan 7 and the Tavascan,
because all these four cars have a panoramic roof, but only BYD Sealion and Cupra Tavascan have an electric cover of it. Also, let's move forward to here. to the next point.
That. Okay, let's continue. The Tesla can now fold down and reposition the second row of seats electrically. The Cupra doesn't have that, but the Chinese at least allow you to adjust the angle of the backrest. At least the other vehicles have it. The Tesla can automatically reverse out of parking spaces with the enhanced autopilot, but that costs another €3,800. The G6 can do it free of charge.
Okay, so this was what I was mentioning in the beginning of the video when we talked about price. So if you add these 3,800 euros extra on top of the price of the Tesla so that it stays green here, then you have to change the green color on the price tag of the Tesla. That's why I say that you can play with these images to give a better picture to the car that you want to defend for some reason. Now let's only focus on the features itself. So park assist, yes, it is inclusive on XPeng G6. I am waiting for the custom parking feature where you can design your parking slot. There are some cars in China that already have that. It is not still here in Europe, but let's hope it will come. Let's see the other things.
Cupra can do it with the package, and unfortunately the Sealion autopilot, which is called something different in each case. Ultimately, it's all about whether the vehicle can automatically keep its lane and maintain a distance to the vehicle in front, and Tesla is actually very, very reliable in that regard, which sometimes still causes me problems with Tesla, because it sometimes just slams on the brakes, which isn't entirely safe. For that reason, half a point should be deducted. The Cupra has VW's travel assist, which is excellent because it also drives predictively using the Cortex. Among other things, this swarm knowledge. Cars are networked, detect danger spots earlier and so on, and the car also adjusts the speed. So if there's an 80 km/h sign and you're driving 100 km/h, it automatically brakes before the sign. If you're already driving at 80 km/h from the sign, that works excellently almost all the time. And the Cupra also brakes before roundabouts and so on. The Tesla sometimes does the same thing when you're driving with a navigation system. When it knows you have to turn now, it slows down. The other vehicles just keep driving.
So this is true. What we have in XPeng is controlling the speed with the vehicle in front of you. It is not connected to the navigation system. So even if you are navigating, it doesn't know if you are going to leave or not. So it doesn't slow down. It doesn't slow down on traffic signs or roundabouts or intersections or stuff like that. So you need to control that. It's true. It's something that we are missing, as he mentioned on Tesla, it does some slowdowns and some brakes when it is riding. So all these systems still need to be worked on, but I believe that the autopilot system of Tesla is in fact better. I didn't try the Cupra, so I cannot say anything about that, but at least comparing with the Tesla, BYD and XPeng G6, I do believe that Tesla is a green one for sure. Let's move on to entertainment.
But of course only when stationary, but even while driving in the back.
Okay, I don't know if he's going to talk about that. Yeah, he talks here about Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So, because I think that's very tight with these video streaming information. Because, guys, we need to understand one thing. One thing is the inbuilt apps. The other thing is what we can do with the car. So I know that Tesla Model Y, for instance, is very closed. It's the apps that you have there, and then you just need to rely on browser to go to some sites like a Better Theater and stuff like that to have some other features. And in case of XPeng G6, I have a full video on the infotainment and all the options. You can check it. I will leave the link on top. You can check that because you have inbuilt apps, so apps that you have already there. You then have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you can have some more apps inside of those systems. And you also have one thing that it is not here. So if I was doing this Excel sheet, I would have this as a column just to put XPeng G6 in a green and all the others in yellow or red. That is, for instance, the external connection. And I have that also video that you can check on my channel that is connecting an external source and use the system of the car to use it or to see it. And for instance, I did connected a Xiaomi TV stick there, and as you can imagine, it's an Android system, so you can have all the apps available. So Netflix, YouTube, Prime, Disney Plus, HBO Max, whatever you want, even IPTV, apps related to TV streaming, a lot of apps for music streaming, for books, whatever you want, you can install on that TV stick. And also you can install, for instance, or connect a Nintendo Switch, a PlayStation even. Of course, that you need to take in consideration the power that those devices need. So every device that just can connect to a 5-volt USB power outlet can be connected on the system. You can see that on my videos. If you need more power, you can connect to the 12-volt that is on the trunk to have that power also over there, or even using the vehicle to load when you are stationary to connect other devices and then to the system of the car. So connecting a Nintendo Switch to the car using the inbuilt system, so the external app, external casting app that the XPeng G6 has, would put the XPeng in a different level than all the others. So the sound system, you will show it's all green. Each manufacturer has their own platform.
High level. Now let's talk about the guard mode dashcam. Yes, the Tesla Model Y has the best by far in the test.
It's true. So we have on the XPeng G6 the X Guard, and now the dashcam was released to everybody. But the implementation is different than Tesla, and I am talking about in Europe, mainly because, for instance, I will give you just this example. In Portugal, it's forbidden to have dashcams, okay? Or better, let me say this in a different way. It is not forbidden. It is strange. There is an RGPD coming from the European Union, but then some countries made some adjustments to that. Instead of leaving that alone, they decided to create local laws that do have more power locally than the overall law. And this means that in Portugal, for instance, it is not very clear if you can use, for instance, sentry mode or access the cameras of the sentry mode remotely, because that may be considered a surveillance system. And you cannot have in Portugal a surveillance system or something that can record or see via a camera other people's, other properties, other license plates and stuff like that. So it is forbidden. So XPeng does have a very conservative approach to this, and it's slowly releasing these features, even if those are already present in the car. So dashcam and sentry mode are there, and he's saying that they exist, but they are not fully available or fully accessible as Tesla has. And that's why he's saying that Tesla has the best system, because Tesla, it seems that it doesn't care about the local legislation. And I think they are doing very good with that, because no one is saying anything bad about that. So they just released the options, and then it's up to the drivers and the owners, if they face any problem with that, to reply and to answer towards justice in their own countries. But XPeng, for instance, now on the 5.8 version, they released dashcam that was already available in Australia and some other countries. They released the dashcam in Europe, but for instance, Portugal, Luxembourg, and Austria, I think, and some other countries do not have dashcam. So I don't have dashcam in my car, even if I have all the hardware and all the software. It is blocked in my country, and XPeng in Portugal is saying that it's because of the law. So it is what it is. So it's a matter of interpretation of the law and the way to approach the market. It is what it is. So software, it's not need to talk about, because we have OTA updates and software updates. Then it talks about Android Auto and CarPlay. as you can see here. So Tesla doesn't have that. On the navigation system, let's talk about that because I think it's very important.
On the subject of navigation, here, I think Tesla is #1 because we use Google Maps. There are ratings, you can really get a lot of information about points of interest, and you also have 3D satellite navigation. It costs €10 extra per month with Tesla, but it really is by far the nicest navigation system.
Okay, I agree. Okay, I agree with him. So I do believe that if I had Google Maps on XPeng G6 for the points of interest, some more quality data, it would be better. But I need to be honest, and again, this is my honest opinion. I do prefer the inbuilt layout, the inbuilt system of TomTom, at least in the XPeng car. I do like it, the way that it says in which lanes we should go. It's much better than Google Maps navigation platform. But again, one thing is who is providing the maps, the other thing is who is making the layout of the system. I do like the Tesla one. I do believe that it's a very good one. It works very well. The XPeng G6 is getting better, but sometimes I do have some trouble to find some addresses, some points of interest. So I agree with this, but I need to say that having Android Auto and CarPlay inside the car, I can have the best of the two worlds. So for instance, I do use Android Auto. I always have Waze open on Android Auto, but it's running on the background. So I do have my preferred layout in Maps, that is the inbuilt system that is coming from TomTom on the XPeng. But at the end, I have also the alerts of speed cameras, some obstacles in the way or whatever, coming from the Waze on the Android Auto. So I have both systems coming. And if I'm not finding any address or any point of interest, I can very easily move to Google Maps or to Waze or to any other app, map app, for instance, a better route planner to work with in my car.
Stands almost everything. I can request songs. I can ask the car to do something, for example, to open the window, open the tailgate, and so on. And it understands that really well. With Cupra, you can say, "Hey, Cupra," or save other voice commands, and the vehicle will respond to your words. You don't have to press a button like with Tesla. I have the feeling that Tesla is definitely better, especially when it comes to announcing
I'm just
navigation
waiting
destinations.
for the XPeng information.
BYD and XPeng also offer this. It works quite well, which is why it's yellow. You can summon a car via an app with the XP.
Okay. For me, this is very clear. It doesn't even know what XPeng can do in terms of the assistant included on the XPeng. That's why it is yellow. It has an assistant and that's it. But guys, I need to talk a little bit about this. So I do think that comparing with Cupra, if it has ChatGPT integrated, it's better for Cupra. But I don't understand why he's comparing and making the Tesla Model Y green and the others in yellow. I don't know BYD, so I will compare only XPeng with Tesla. I tested both. With XPeng, you have the call word, so you can call it without touching a button. You can interact with it not with exact comments, so it has a little bit of AI, so you can talk saying, "I'm feeling hot," and the car will understand, the assistant will understand that you want to reduce the temperature of the car. So you don't need to tell exact commands to execute. I'm not sure if Tesla, you can do that. Also, it has a very good feature that, of course, as he said, you can open a window, you can close a window, you can change something. You have a video of on the channel also with a lot of comments, with a PDF with comments over there also. But it has something that I don't know if all the others have. I'm not sure. So again, leave in the comments if they have. That is location-based comments. What I mean with this is that if I say open window, "Hey XPeng, open window," she will know, the assistant will know that it was the driver asking, and it will open only my window. If it is the back right passenger asking for that, she will know that the back passenger window is the one to be open. So you don't need to say to the assistant, open the right passenger window. You can just say, or the passenger that is there, he can ask the assistant to open my window, close my window. Okay, and for instance, turn on my vents, air vents, or activate my passenger the seat ventilation. And if it is the passenger asking for that, it will activate the passenger seat ventilation. You can ask change temperature to 18, and if it is the passenger that is asking, it will change the passenger temperature to that value. So it has these location-based commands together with the AI, so understanding a more common language and having the possibility to activate within a call word, and also having most of the features available on the assistant. I would not put on an Excel sheet yeah, and then putting yeah on green for Tesla Model Y. So for me, this is incorrect. Okay, let's move on.
Half tons in the largest equipment line, and the Cupra unfortunately only has a towing capacity of 1,200
so
kilograms
this
with the
is
VZ
towing.
all-wheel drive. It might.
That's okay.
So
warranty.
as you can see, the battery warranty is similar, but in terms of mileage, Tesla and BYD, especially BYD,
That's
are the
okay.
leaders.
No worries about
The others
that.
have. Then we come to the topic of service network, and that's also the last point for today.
Okay. Okay, I agree with this. Of course, XPeng does not have a lot in these places. So Austria 0, I don't even know if it was, I don't know. So I will not compare these. It's location based. Here in Portugal, I do know that the infrastructure is getting bigger. But we need to take in consideration that XPeng is, for instance, in Portugal since last year, middle of the year, I think. So it's probably making 1 year now of existence. So we cannot expect to have 510 locations to service. So they are growing, but of course, it is what it is. If it is not present still, it has to be in red. I would not say nothing about that. In terms of warranty, it's okay. I think it's more or less aligned with the others. So I would not say anything about that. And this is the last. I understand the way that people think and compare cars, but sometimes they are being very biased on those because, as you saw, there are a couple of categories that were specifically created because he owns a Tesla and it's his own experience. If I was creating something like that, I would put here, for instance, location-based assistant. Do those other cars have it? X combos, the way that you can program activities or actions based on triggers inside the car. So personalize your own car. I would give a huge block of info about that because only XPeng has that. So there are some categories that you can create based on your own experience with your car. And then you can, even if you don't want to do that, you can be a little bit biased on your review and giving red colors to other manufacturers because they don't have those features that were only created by your own manufacturer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 reds in XPeng. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 reds in Tesla and now in XPeng. So they are exactly the same. But then we have more yellows probably in XPeng. But if the price of Tesla, for instance, was red, you would give already immediately win to the XPeng G6. It has less reds, for instance. So you cannot compare in this way. And imagine if I had, if I remove one pedal driving, if I remove my personal infrastructure, if I remove some other things that are very related to Tesla, I would put here, for instance, the availability of extra additional casting apps, X combos, location-based assistant. So I would create categories that would give green colors to XPeng. So that's why I say when you compare cars, when you compare reviews, when you see YouTube videos, as you are seeing this one, you need to take that with a bit of salt, because as you are seeing now, I am defending XPeng, and I could make this video saying that I was going to be a very unbiased analysis without talking good things about XPeng or making this a little bit turn to the XPeng side. But I have an XPeng, I am an XPeng owner, so I will try at least not to defend, because I am not selling anything to anyone. I am not an XPeng affiliated or employee, so I don't care which car you buy. But I don't like to see sometimes in the internet saying the XPeng doesn't have a good assistant, if the assistant on XPeng was not explored by that guy that it's saying that it's not good. I just want to try to put the XPeng car in the same position with clarity on the features and with the information, the correct information on it. So guys, this was it. This is the video that I plan to do. Leave again in the comments if you agree with my analysis, in my view of this reaction video. This was a little bit longer video because it was already the original video was longer also, but I think this way we covered everything that was covered also on that original video, and we made my comments very clear. I hope so, at least. If not, again, leave it in the comments. And that's it, guys. So if you like this content, just leave your like, subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed. And of course, if you like this content, consider supporting it. Again, thank you very much for the people that supported the channel already using memberships, super chats, and also the Buy Me a Coffee links. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.